Right then, this is now my fight preview and prediction for Jai Opetaia versus David Nyika going down next week. And yes, this is going to be interesting in my opinion. You've got David Nyika who's really trying to build his name more, and he's got a big opportunity that's been given to him. And yeah, Jai Opetaia really trying to build up his resume as champ, of course. And, surely after this fight, if Opetaia does win, this will surely move him on to a fight with Zurdo Ramirez to unify the belts. Who's going to win this one, though? Jai Opetaia and David Nyika. I was first thinking to start with that David Nyika could give Jai Opetaia a few rounds and could give him some problems in there. And I think, the win is pretty clear here, and I do think that will be Jai Opetaia. I think Opetaia will win this fight. And I was thinking to start with when the fight got made, this could be interesting. I was thinking, people might be underestimating Nyika coming to the fight. And, I think Nyika's a guy and, a guy with good talent in him, and you can tell that by watching him. But this is too soon for him, if we're being completely honest. It is. Opetaia is going to win this fight. And I think there's adjustments that Nyika needs to make in his defense, and he's not there yet defensively in order to be able to compete with Jai Opetaia, who's top of the division right now. I don't think Nyika can do that. I think he's too upright, and I think his chin's there for Opetaia to really catch with a big shot with that big left hook that Opetaia throws. I think, Nyika's chin's going to be there to catch. And he has got a good chin, David Nyika. He's taken big shots in his career, but not by guys like Jai Opetaia, though, for being real. And, as well, I do think that people do overrate the resume of Jai Opetaia. And, he is building. I feel like even though Nyika still is building his way up and isn't in his prime yet by any means, I still think it's a decent win for Opetaia, though. I think it's a better win than what Jack Massey is. I think it's a better win for him than what Alice Zorro is, and possibly a better win for him than what Jordan Thompson is. So, I do think still it is a decent name for Jai Opetaia to have on the resume, though, as a win. But let's be real. I think, thinking right about it right now, Jai Opetaia should win this fight, and I think he should do it quite easily, to be fair. I just feel like Nyika's got a good style for Jai Opetaia to be able to deal with, and people will disagree. But I don't see Nyika causing Opetaia many problems in this fight and really, getting him worried. I don't see David Nyika being able to do that yet, especially at this point in his career. And I think with David Nyika, I think he does work the body nicely. He does. His body work is very good, but I feel like when he's trying to, lean in for some body shots that he's throwing, he's going to be there to be caught by Opetaia. I feel like at times Nyika just comes forward pretty square on with his chin high up in the air. And recently as well, with what we've seen more from David Nyika, he has been fighting in the pocket more in his two recent fights against Michael Sykes and against Tommy Carpisi. He's been fighting more in the pocket, even though, he has been using his range nicely, and he is decent behind that lead hand, David Nyika, and that is what he's going to have to do in this fight. You can't fight in the pocket against Jai Opetaia. You don't want to do that. You need to try and keep him at bay, causing problems with his lead hand. But I do think something that Opetaia does very well, though, and it is the battle of the lead hands. He does do well in the battle of the lead hands, Jai Opetaia. He does have some real good, confusing lead hand feints, Opetaia does. He is good at being able to, lure you into traps. And I feel like at this point of David Nyika's career, he's not going to be able to deal with it. And he hasn't seen something yet from anyone with what Jai Opetaia is going to bring him on the 8th of January. Like, David Nyika's not seen it yet. He's not at this level for him, unfortunately, just yet. And I think Opetaia will be able to knock him out inside 5 rounds at least, to be fair. I think Nyika could be all right behind the lead hand to start with. We won't be causing Opetaia any problems, but I feel like it might take Opetaia a round or two to try and find his range. against Nyika. It's not going to be as easy for Jai Opetaia to find his range in this fight like it was to fight someone like Ellis Zorro, where Opetaia was able to find the range in seconds and tee off on it. Same as Jordan Thompson. Opetaia was able to find the range of Jordan Thompson in seconds and just tee off on him with ease. It's not going to be easy for him to fully figure out Nyika. I don't see Nyika causing him any problems. And, Opetaia will probably still be picking up the rounds with some decent body attacks. But, yeah, Nyika needs to be throwing that jab out, needs to double up and triple up the jab a lot, I think Nyika does. That's a big thing. It don't even need to be too accurate. I just feel like Nyika needs to try and get some good volume going early on and try and make Opetaia think as much as possible. But I think the thing with Opetaia is you're always thinking when you're in there with him. Especially, when you're at someone at the level that Nyika's at, he hasn't really had any standout wins. He's only 10-0. He's still building his way up into the real big scene. That's the thing with David Nyika right now. And he's going to be really confused by Jai Opetaia. But what I do like about Nyika is he has got a good chin. He can take shots. And Nyika is going to make you work in order to be able to beat him. That is the thing. But by being able to get him out of there, he can take shots, and he can't. And he does come back with some decent work as well. But he's not going to be able to deal with Opetaia as the fight goes on. And I do question Opetaia's gas tank. That is the thing. And I do think with Nyika, with what we've seen from him so far, is, he can keep up a decent pace. But again, though, look at who Nyika's been fighting, though. Jai Opetaia is not going to let Nyika dictate the pace. We saw when he fought Sykes at times, David Nyika. Nyika was able to push him back on those ropes and really offload in the pocket and catch Nyika with big shots. And Nyika does get hit a lot, but again, as I said, he does make you work in order to be able to get him out of there. He does make you work. But he does leave himself too open, and Opetaia's got ridiculous power right now, if we're being completely honest. But again, Nyika has good power as well, and he's very smart when he picks his body shots. That's the good thing about Nyika. He picks his body shots very nicely and is smart when doing so. That's what I like about Nyika. He's consistent with his body work, and, he's consistent with the work he does. And that's what you need to do against someone like Opetaia. Stay consistent with what you're doing, stick to a plan. Nyika does that well. But again, eventually, things are going to catch up to him, and he's going to be outsmarted by Opetaia. Opetaia's level changes are very good. They are. But again, though, as I said, Opetaia's resume is slightly overrated as well. And, the only big name, elite name that he's got on the resume is Marius Briedis. That's the only elite name that Opetaia's got on his resume. Other than that, I feel like, if I'm being completely real, David Nyika will probably be Opetaia's second best opponent overall, if I'm being completely honest. He probably is his second best opponent on the resume. But I still think that his style's kind of made for Opetaia to deal with. That's what I think. I feel like Nyika's style's kind of made for Opetaia to deal with, because kind of like what Zorro does, he left his chin high up in the air. And I'm not comparing Nyika to Zorro at all. Nyika's level's above what Ellis Zorro is. But he does leave his chin in the air, and he can come forward pretty square on at times. And I also do think a worry about David Nyika is that he could get caught changing stances against Opetaia, because Nyika's, able to have some fairly quick start. Well, I wouldn't say quick, but he does have some stance changes at times, orthodox to southpaw. And he does look all right when he's doing it against these lower level guys. But against Opetaia, he's going to get caught when he's switching styles at times as well. I feel like in this fight, Nyika needs to pick a style, stick to it. Fight southpaw or fight orthodox. He probably needs to fight southpaw in this fight, Nyika, because Opetaia is a southpaw. Try and match him with that. Take one advantage away from Opetaia being the southpaw. So Nyika probably does need to start this fight off as a southpaw, fight as a southpaw for the whole fight. No switching stances, because it could cause Nyika confusion at times, in my opinion. Try and keep it as simple as you can when you're fighting Jai Opetaia. Don't confuse yourself with it. I feel like that's the big thing. So Nyika needs to fight Southpaw in this fight. Don't fight Orthodox at any point whatsoever. But either way, I just feel like everything's going to end up catching up to David Nyika. He's not going to win the fight. He's going to get knocked out. I'm going to say in round 5, Opetaia wins the fight. That's what I'm going to say. I want to see Nyika do well in the fight. I do. But I just feel like chin to eye in the air, he gets hit too much. He can be awkward at trying to, figure out the range and get into range. He's gonna make Opetaia work to be able to get into range. But once Opetaia does get into range, Nyika's shin's gonna be there to hit. Opetaia's gonna let his shots go, and it's eventually gonna catch up to David Nyika. So I'm going with Opetaia. I'm gonna say round 5. Anyway, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.